there is an argument that the Red Roses are probably the team under the second most pressure in the history of rugby union, the All Blacks in 2011.
Yeah.
They have been the best team in the world since, what would we say, about 2019? They probably overtook the Black Ferns properly.
Yeah.
Thereabouts.
On the most part is the thing.
Yes.
They've lost one game since then?
One game, I think, in their last 57, 58.
Yeah. Which was quite an important game.
Yeah.
They lost to the Black Ferns in the Rugby World Cup final of 2022, which I don't think anybody wrote off the Black Ferns, but to say that anybody kind of saw that coming from a distance, you'd be lying, I think, a little bit. I think on the week of it, a lot of people kind of went, oh, I've got a feeling about the Black Ferns because they've been playing so well. They're at home on a sold-out Eden Park, and crucially, they hate the way that England have been talked about in this World Cup.
Yeah.
And that was such a narrative, and we'll come on to this when we talk about the Black Ferns themselves, I think. But that was such a narrative of the last World Cup, was England were the only team anyone was talking about as contenders to win it, and then they went and lost it in the end.
Yeah.
And there's two sides to this, because I don't want to focus on the negative, right? But on one side, if England didn't win this World Cup, it would be like an all-timer, like... It would make this team so much worse than like all the narratives people say about Ireland never getting out of men's World Cup quarterfinals or anything like that. It would be like a horrendous narrative around them.
It would be the biggest bottling, I think, maybe in the sports history.
Yeah, I didn't want to use that word, but it is.
It would be the sporting story of the year if they lost to the Black Ferns, even though they have won the last 3-4 in a row.
Or more if they lost to
since
Canada,
2014,
or France,
or
Wales.
Yeah. But if they lost to Canada, if Canada, as the next team down, won this, it is one of the biggest stories in the history of rugby union.
Yeah.
And if anyone else beats them, it is on par with Japan and Brighton.
Yeah.
Like we 100%. Are at that scale.
Yeah.
It's probably bigger.
The Black Ferns are the one team where you go like. They stand a real chance.
Black Ferns, Canada, stand like a chance of giving them a game.
Yeah.
France should give them a game. Ireland can give them a game.
Yeah.
Anyone else beats the Red Roses or even comes close. And I said, I think that is Brighton territory.
I agree. With that in mind, so let's talk about why that's the case.
Yeah.
Because the RFU, to their credit, invested in women's rugby early.
Yeah.
They were the first union who took this seriously and went, let's not only professionalise the players, give them actual pro contracts that pay a living wage of some description. Even though I'm told they don't pay brilliantly, but they pay something that you can live on and not starve to death.
Yeah.
Right, so that's a start. It's not great, but it's a start. They gave them genuine facilities, like of the same standard of the national men's team, which is great.
They use Penny Hill Park. They use a lot of the same facilities.
Yeah, and they actually developed pathways, and they looked into how can we develop girls and women's rugby and make it more popular.
And they invested in what was then the Premier 15s.
Yeah.
Into building up a professional league, or a league where the best players were paid. You know, to play rugby.
So as an incentive.
Initially, it was just they were earning like $6-7 a year.
Yeah.
As a kind of top up on another career.
And a big part
it's now built to the point at which you have players who are, this is their full-time job. It's go and play for Gloucester Hartpury, and play for Bristol or whoever.
And a big part of it is the branding of the Red Roses being separate from the England men's team, who are just called the England men's team. And that has been really good in terms of engaging people off the field, and has brought in, they are setting so many records in terms of crowds that they're bringing in year on year, that they are growing as a brand constantly. And that has in parts led to, and I say in parts, a generational group of rugby players, not just the 15, of the 40 odd plus rugby players that they are picking year round, right? And I say that is in part developed that because the thing we don't talk about enough is we always go they've got the best pathways, but they also have the best rugby players. Alongside the Black Ferns, they have the best rugby players on the planet,
and they have so many of them. They have so much depth. They've built into a situation where Emma Singh probably isn't going to start for them, right? Which Mia Venner isn't making their squad. Players who would start for genuinely, I think, any other team in this World Cup aren't making their squad. They're white, like May Campbell again, isn't making their squad. Ella Virvas, these players will be starting for 9 out of 10 teams in this tournament, and they're not making the wider squad. This is I think the best team we've seen in rugby union since the 2015 All Blacks. I think it's like they are more dominant, more consistent, further ahead than the level than this current Springbok men's team. Who are the other contender?
They would be second place.
Those are like, in terms of the professional era, I genuinely think those are like 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
But I think this is probably second place to the 2015 All Blacks.
Yeah.
They're in second place.
They would be first because they've not won a World Cup.
They are in second place because they haven't won a World Cup, right? And this is their moment to do it on home soil. Same thing, that All Blacks team lost the 2007 World Cup when they were overwhelming favourites. They bottled it on, away from home, and then came to their home ground and won it under enormous pressure in a game that looked very dicey at many points.
So do you anticipate England having fixtures like that in the World Cup?
Yes, I do.
Where they get sticky and the pressure gets to them?
I think the interesting thing about the Red Rose brand you talk about there, right, is they have built into being a team more like the Harlem Globetrotters or the Barbarians over the last couple of years, where people come because they play entertaining rugby and they always win, right? Like the Harlem Globetrotters have lost one game in their history because it's fixed that they always win because that's part of the brand, right?
Yeah.
Like
we've gone and watched the Red Roses play games.
Yeah.
Like, I went to the Scotland game in the Six Nations this year. We went to the Wales game last year in the Six Nations, like a few years on the trot. Actually, we've gone to watch England v Wales, and the narrative around us has always been England fans going like, oh yeah, I like coming to watch the women's game because they're always really good and they play such an entertaining brand of rugby. And I, like, as on the days, a Scotland fan and a Wales fan respectively, was like not offended but a little bit cheesed off by that in a way of like, there's no opposition here. Like it is the job of the opposition to stop them from playing that. And immediately before the game started, we've written off the opposition can even do that. Because England are that level of good. Like, they have earned that level of, like, borderline arrogance in the crowd.
Realistically, this England team, the players in the squad who will likely play in the knockout stages, how many of them have played in games where they lost? How many of them played in tight games? And that will be a big factor when we get into this, right? Emily Scarrett obviously has been around for 800 years. So she's played in losses over the World Cup finals. Marley Packer, likewise.
Yeah, Mo Hunt.
It's sort of just those three.
Yeah.
Right? You then look at those players who have played in the last World Cup final.
Matthews as well.
Alex Matthews, played in the last World Cup final aside.
Yeah.
That is the only game a lot of these players have ever lost for England. And then since that World Cup final, you look at Canada gave them a real game, and I want to talk about that more in a second.
Yes.
A real game in the autumn in WXV1. And they had one decent contest with Black Ferns, but they still won in the end by more than 10 points.
Yeah.
So
a couple of games where France have given them a game.
France have given them a game a couple of times.
England, comfortable points in the game, though.
Exactly.
So
like
it's a bit different.
They still came through and won all of them by more than a score in the end, even when France properly pushed them. Or it was the opposite, or they were comfortable, and then France had a massive comeback, as we saw this year at Twickenham, where France almost won that. But this is the thing. These players don't know how to play tight games. Yeah. And that proved to be a problem in the end for the All Blacks in about 2018, well after they'd won 2 World Cups.
Yeah.
But also, like, there was this thing in that coaching panel, right, of there was such a narrative that built after 2007 that the All Blacks didn't know how to kick drop goals, didn't know how to do anything else. So 2015, right, they drilled drop goals so hard, the Carter's just going for them all the time in that semi and final. And I don't think the Red Roses have had any of that pressure.
Thing is,
no one has come at them with the narrative that they need to know how to win tight games.
It's the best criticism you can ever give a team, isn't it?
Yeah, I know.
It's like you win too much, you don't know how to lose or be in tight games because you're always battering everybody.
And also because realistically, there's only 2 teams that push them.
Yeah.
The only teams anywhere near their level. Like Ireland and France are somewhere close. Like they can give them a game for an amount of time, but really, like, very often, Red Roses training sessions are probably harder than the games they're playing.
Yeah.
Like, they're more push and training than they are in games.
Yeah.
So they're probably better doing like a semi-opposed match than they are going and playing anyone below France in the world rankings.
Something we mentioned on the Canadian build-up to this is the stress breach that happened.
Yeah.
Where Canada last year in WXV1 went up against the Red Roses with Alex Tessier running in a try from 30 metres out. And to the point where it was like, that was the first time you looked at the England defence and were like, oh no, someone's just torn it open. Yeah. Like, that does not happen in the Six Nations or just in regular play. And England went into the sheds and, by their own admission, slightly panicked. Yeah. They did manage to get their way back into the game.
And win the game.
And then later on managed to, come back and actually win it. But Jess Breach said on her podcast, Rugby Radio, that she presents with Ellie Kildun, that is the first time in her England career that she just panicked and didn't know what to do because she was scared that they were going to lose the game.
The truly alarming bit of that, and Jess Breach has never lost a game in her Test career, and she's been playing for England since, 2018?
Yeah.
And has a very decent number of caps. She said
decent number of tries.
Truly remarkable thing isn't the fact that she said she was worried and they were panicking, because I think that happens.
Yeah.
It was the fact she said she almost cried.
Yeah.
On the pitch, she said she almost cried because she was so worried they were going to lose the game.
Yeah.
And what will happen if they're in the final, they're feeling this immense pressure, they've sold out Twickenham for the first time ever, they've got people lined up around the streets, it's the biggest deal women's rugby has ever seen in any nation. That's probably what we're looking at here, right? Like the only comparison being what happened in Eden Park a few years ago.
The biggest rugby event of the year, possibly the biggest sporting event in the UK this year, along with the Women's Euros final.
Yeah.
Like, it's a huge deal. And this isn't to pick out Jess Breach because, and not even just England, but there will be a lot of players, right, in this World Cup or in any sporting team in the world, male or female, who feel that way about winning and losing games because it's emotional. Rugby in particular is a very emotional sport.
Let's say Canada or New Zealand, hypothetically, in that final, they score a try early on. They get an intercept, they get a breakaway of some sort in the first few minutes. They then kick a penalty. They go 10-0 up after 20 minutes, right? What happens to England? Do they completely lose their heads? I don't know. Yeah. And like the thing is, right, we're not talking about the pools. Everyone else, we're going to talk about the pools. We're going to talk about hypotheticals. This England team are such a beast of their own. I think the interesting stuff is what happens later on.
Yeah.
And the interesting stuff is trying to pick holes in them because there's so few of them. And the holes are all the hypotheticals. The holes are all the things we haven't seen them do. And then that Jess Breach insight, and like I know other players aren't necessarily going to be like it. It may be that counts against her in selection.
And again, there will be players from oppositions who will have the same thing, you know, that England will score one try against them and players will fall to pieces and they'll go, oh, for God's sake, we're playing in this England game again. We've watched them do 1,000 times. I thought it was going to be different. But the same can happen in reverse. I think the point I'm trying to make about that England-Canada game is England are human. Yeah. Like, they are a group of human rugby players.
The point I would make around it is I think maybe the best thing for them would have been to lose a game somewhere along the last year.
It's kind of a bullshit point, but I get it.
Would the best thing for them to have had a game where they lost and they can look at their own weaknesses and assess it?
I think there is a part of John Mitchell who will have wanted the players to have experienced a bit of hardship in an England jersey going into this. But at the same time, as I say, like, it is the best criticism you can ever give a team. Yeah. Like, they won't see that as a criticism.
No,
they will laugh that off. They've got the easiest comeback ever to it of like, we've fucking won games, so what? You know?
But they haven't won a World Cup.
Not yet.
And that continues to sit on it. Okay, right, let's very quickly talk about players to watch.
Yes, oh my God, yeah. The best team in the world, and we've not talked about how great they are.
But I think that's the thing, right? Is like the interesting point in the conversation is around the actual title.
I agree. And also, like, we are one of many, many, many people putting out content around this World Cup, particularly around the Red Roses, right?
The Red Roses are the most covered team.
All of those will tell you how great they are, right? I want to look at the potential vulnerabilities. And it is the word potential. Because these vulnerabilities might not exist. There is a 80% chance that this video ages horribly, and that's fine.
Yeah. But also, we just want to explore the possibility, don't we?
Yeah,
like, you've got to find something interesting.
It's what the Rugby World Cup's about.
Yeah. So, players to watch,
foregone conclusion.
Right? Let's throw out a few players each.
Yeah.
Who stand out? Right, should we start with forwards?
Yes. Sadia Kabea.
Yeah.
Sorry, you were about to say somebody else. Sadia Kabea is outstanding, really good over the ball, phenomenal ball carrier, really, really quick. Such an exciting player.
I'm a huge fan of her battle with Marley Packer as well.
I'm sorry for cutting you off.
No, you're very welcome. Maud Muir, Sarah Byrne, sharing that tight head shirt. Maud Muir can obviously be both sides of the scrum as well, which we may see come into consideration. You've got Han Bottoman on the other side as well, who is playing exceptionally well.
Yeah, praised by Phil Vickery, former England tight head, as being two of the best players in world rugby.
Yeah, and they are.
Yeah, that he said that he didn't think he would ever see a better tight head prop than Sarah Byrne playing an England shirt, and then Maud Muir came along, who is just as good as Sarah Byrne, and it's impossible to separate those two. Yeah. If you are a fan of front row play, Sarah Byrne's highlights package is something else because she is as quick as a lot of backs in the game and as strong as a prop is meant to be. She is both a Hollywood prop and a solid, grunt prop.
I think they're two of the most complete props I've ever seen in my life. They might be... There's an argument they're 1 and 2. Yeah. They're alongside... There's probably some, there's like, you throw out the Geffen Jenkins of the world and so on, who could do everything. Obviously, I've never seen, Sarah Boone find the corners late in the game, but like, in terms of ability to demolish a scrum as well, I think Muir might even be the better scrummager. Yeah. But Byrne is used as an edge forward because she's that quick. Like, she's essentially having a second number 8 in your team. We talked about this in the other video, but I don't know. I think they're the two real standouts for me. Backline?
Oh, I mean, there's a lot. We mentioned Jess Breach, proper try scorer.
Yeah.
Like, every time she gets the ball, there is a chance she can break a line. She's also really developed a kicking game in the last couple of years, and that's something that really excites me. She's proper exciting player to watch. Abby Dow on the other wing, likewise, just electrifying.
Abby Dow is one of my favourite players.
Yeah.
Love watching her. Even though, despite the whole, like, red rose of it all, just...
And we can't talk about those two without talking about Ellie Kildunn.
Yep.
The most hyped up player going into this World Cup, it's safe to say.
Been a little bit of second season syndrome, and I think not because she's worse, but because teams have kind of just like really targeted and really watched her.
Yeah.
And she's having to adapt the game a little bit and create space for others.
Bloody hell, if your second season syndrome looks like that, then you're doing pretty well,
exactly.
aren't you?
But was the best player in the world this time last year.
Yeah.
And right now is just one of the best players in the world rather than the best.
And the point of difference in there comes in the form of her positional competitor, Emma Singh, who is quite possibly the best goal kicker in women's rugby. England Rugby shared this clip of her kicking a goal from 50 metres the other day, which is an extreme rarity in women's rugby. Not only that, but she strikes it so cleanly. Yeah. Like, she is an unbelievable kicker. And if England do find themselves in that sticky situation late on in games where they need a penalty to win it, which not many teams take penalties in women's rugby, she could be the person who genuinely changes the game.
Is Emma Singh too useful a weapon to leave out the team?
I think she's got to have that 23 jersey.
Yeah.
Just for a goal kicking alone.
Yeah. Okay. Anyone else to spotlight?
Meg Jones.
Meg Jones.
Holly Aitchison.
The thing is,
phenomenal.
we can just read the team out, can't we? So
Holly Aitchison is one of the best kind of string pulling 10s.
That's
out there.
one of the questions I wanted to ask. Who do you play at 10? Is it Aitchison? Is it Harrison? Is it Rowland?
I think Aitchison.
Is it Jones?
But also Zoe Harrison has been on really good form as well.
Is it Bottoman?
Has played really well in the warm-up games.
Yeah.
Is a brilliant kicker as well, like goal kicking, and also out of hand. Like, her line kicking is also excellent. But Holly Aitchison, I think her ceiling when she's playing at her best, like Test match rugby, is the best of all of those. Yeah. Her passing game is one of the best I've seen. And just her body language, like how difficult she is to read. I've not seen many players like it, certainly like in the women's game. Like, she is a proper outstanding 10.
I get Test match animal vibes of Zoe Harrison though.
Yeah.
Like, I get she'll step up when the time's right.
23 woman game, mind you.
Think about how good she was in the final.
Yeah.
3 years ago. Weird not saying 4 years ago. She is who I would start, and then maybe even look at Aitchison in the centre.
Really?
Yeah.
That's an interesting one.
But
Aitchison, of course, started the last World Cup final at 12.
Yeah.
Although Tatiana Hurd is too good to not start there.
And Emily Scarrett's Emily Scarrett.
Yeah. And Meg Jones is Meg Jones.
Meg Jones is Meg Jones.
They have got so many options in that backline.
Great analysis, that, isn't it?
Yeah, but these are world-class
reading the players' birth certificates out.
Yeah, but
Meg Jones is, hold on, Welsh?
Yeah, that's true. She should maybe requalify and play for Wales instead, because England have too many players. We've got 3 world-class centres. Like, one of them is probably going to miss out on the 23. Like, that's crazy.
Right. Okay. Time to ask a simple question. No. Okay, I'm going to ask it differently. I'm not going to ask, do they win the World Cup? I'm going to say, what percentage certain are you they win the World Cup?
Idea. 90.
Okay.
But, giving the Black Ferns a 10% chance of winning the World Cup is very harsh.
I wouldn't give the Black Ferns a 10% chance of winning the World Cup.
You wouldn't?
No. I would say England about 92% certainty.
Okay.
I would say about 3% of that is Black Ferns, 4% is Canada, and then what's that leaving? 1% is everyone else.
Okay. Okay, I like that.
So you're saying 90% with Black Ferns as...
90, not between the Black Ferns and Canada.
5 each? I think actually saying everyone else gets 1% each is harsh. No, I don't think they do.
No, I don't think they do.
I don't think they do. I think it's less than a percent chance for anyone else, any of those 3.
Yeah, okay, they can have 5 each, but I feel harsh on both of them there.
Yeah.
But also, this England team are a powerhouse. I think that's not to undermine those other teams. It's more just to state, like, how overwhelming favourites they are.
The thing is, you've got to ask this question: can you see them
upsets
beating England? And the only teams I can see beating them are Canada and the Black Ferns.
Yeah,
like literally no one else I can even envisage it.
No.
Ireland and France. This France team we'll talk about separately, but I don't think so.
No.
Ireland, I think like if everything is firing at a 10 out of 10 game, and the Red Roses have their worst game in 5 years, then
they'll come within 2 points of them.
Yeah, then I think it's possible, but I kind of can't see it still.
Yeah.
This will probably age horribly, but we'll see.
We'll see.
Okay, so
yeah, let's pick out one player, somebody who's never watched the Red Roses before, who is to watch on this tournament.
I would go with those two tight heads, Maud Muir, Sarah Byrne, whichever one is starting. You are seeing the best prop in the game currently playing, whichever one's starting. Those two are currently the joint best prop in rugby.
Yeah.
And, sorry, Ox. And for me, it is just whichever of them's on the field at the time.
Yeah.
Takes the title.
I think that's fair. You can share that between the two of them. Okay, I'm going to flip it and go with Tatiana Hurd.
Oh, okay.
She is a phenomenal just ball runner, breaks the line all the time, just such a difficult woman to get to the floor. Like, she just bumps off tackles pretty much every time she gets the ball, and she's a little bit unstoppable. So I'm going to go with Tatiana Hurd as my player to watch.
Okay. Do we think this book will have a second edition coming up very soon? I hope so. Commission Jess, you cowards.